Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It's a great honor to welcome back Kaylee Felio. She's the Sales and Marketing Manager at PartsEdge. This year, she is an NADA show speaker later this week, joined by Michael Weldon, our great friend from the Hansel Automotive Group in Santa Rosa, California. Kaylee and Mike, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you for having me.
Mike, you've been on the roundtable since the beginning. And do you remember when Kaylee burst onto the scene with PartsEdge? And did you ever think that Parts was going to get this kind of attention, primarily due to all the good work and the foundation that Kaylee's been building all these years? And now she's speaking at NADA.
Oh, no, it's great. We talk offline occasionally, and I got to tell you, she's brought the spirit back into the parts department. And she's gotten a message out so that both parts and service managers, I've said it a number of times, I don't have parts and service departments. I have fixed operations, is that where we pull everybody together so everybody understands each other's business. And by the structure that they've been able to help us install within our environments, it's made us better operators.
Yeah. I agree so much. Kaylee, what are you speaking about later this week at NADA? What's your topic?
The potential of purposeful inventory management. So really diving into what it is to be more efficient with the way that you're managing your inventories.
Well, I'm going to let you and Mike have a conversation here. I'm going to step out of the way, and I'm excited to hear and take some notes. So Kaylee and Mike, the show is all yours.
Thank you. So where do we begin? So I want to start with just, talking about just how the opportunity of being more efficient. And, it's good to focus on sales, but there's profit in being more efficient. How do we share that? Or how do we see the profit in efficiency?
Well, a better utilization of time. I think, as you get older in life, you're going to find that time is not expendable, and you need to use time to your advantage. And when you put that into a business perspective, that's where the efficiencies come from, is where you can get more out of a day by having certain things in place that allows you to be more effective in how you engage in your business.
And we talked about just the role of a parts manager, how that's evolving. Where's like automation? Because I feel like there's so much technology out there, and parts just is not really using a lot of it. So what can automation do for parts managers? Because that kind of goes back to the time, right?
Well, automation it plays a integral part. I mean, you got the invention now of AI, and how is that going to play a part in parts? We've dabbled in with that a bit in one of our stores, and so far on the wholesale side, we've seen an uptick in business because we've been able to accommodate that guest a lot quicker, and they feel heard, and we can give them instructions if in fact one of our agents are busy with another client. We're just able to respond to those people a lot faster. And I think that's where the efficiencies are key today, is what the consumer wants.
Yeah, meeting them where they want. And there's, with AI, it's not, I know we're all talking about it, but it's how we use it to make our process better. It's not replacing anyone. It's making it really better, meeting the customer where they want to be met. So I think that's
I never want to replace people with machines. But I will tell you, I'll show them how to use the machine so they can be better at what they're doing. And it goes back to process management. Some of the things that PartsEdge has done for us, it's allowed a manager to become more engaged in other things than just sitting behind his desk, because it sets him up to where he can pull the data, pull the information, make the pivot, make the change, call and ask questions, get information, and then engage with the staff. I mean, so many times, we had these silos in our business, and in parts and service, they never mingle, and neither do parts departments for that matter. Everybody's their own agent, and because of this technology, because of what you've been able to provide, or PartsEdge has been able to provide, it's allowed us to cross communicate to where everybody now feels they're part of the solution and they're more effective at their job.
Well, and I think too, it feels like the parts managers that we work with really can trust the process or the data and the system, because that's something that we talked about too. Is it's there, but they're still going with overriding things and not fully trusting. So I think with your parts managers, they tend to trust it a little bit more, or trust it all the way, because it's actually doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Well, I've been lucky. I've been blessed with some pretty innovative people, and I've worked with some of them for a number of years. And tenure with a parts manager is usually longer than anybody else. But I will tell you that the staff that we have, we brought them up so they see the benefit of what we've been doing, and they're embracing it a lot more rather than fighting it.
Yeah, that's important. And do you feel like that's happening a lot these days too? Because I think there was a shift where we're getting a lot of newer parts managers out there, and I feel like a lot of them are getting brought up from being like a counter person into a parts management role.
Well, yeah, because we're running out of inventory. If you want to look at people with prior experience, so you have to invest in your people if you're going to sustain and grow and get into the future. I plan 5-10 years in advance, and I'm trying to move people and get them in a position that when I decide that I'm going to step away from the business, that they're going to be able to sustain their livelihood, and they're going to be able to perform at a high level and get a greater return on their investment.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the best way to do it, is because then they're, like you said, they're evolving with you guys. They're seeing everything, and they're not pushing back as much. But how do you deal with managers that are pushing back? You can't. It's not like you just want to get rid of them. It's more of like, how do you help them see the bigger picture, I guess, is my question.
First off, you have to understand them, how they're thinking, why they're thinking the way that they are, what's preventing them from advancing or embracing change. And I've had some conversations where you can't beat them over the head, you can't push them hard. I just believe, and that's true, but people that really want to learn will engage. Those that don't want to learn, they're going to have to decide for themselves if this is the right thing for them, because it's going to happen. Technology is coming. It's here. It's been here. We need to embrace it. The only reason why I've been able to be as active as I have in the years is because I decided that if I'm going to stay in this business, I have to pivot. I have to learn. And the guys that I brought along with me all have the same mindset because they've seen that it worked. And so it's a little easier to have that conversation. And then the ones that you're talking about that are tough, they want to fit in. So eventually when they see that it's working, we've been lucky that, hey, I want to raise my hand. I get it now. Mm-hmm. Let's go. And it's worked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think identifying when that's happening, like you said, and working with them and not letting it, just leaving them to just, do their thing. Like I think what we've always done. It's like, oh, that's just the parts manager. Just let them do their thing.
We see them once a month or once a year.
Yeah. Yeah, that has to change. So what are some of the pressures, I guess, are that you guys are seeing that for parts managers? Because I feel like there's this new set of just more pressure to make more profit, more pressure to have a better inventory, back orders, dealing with manufacturer programs, you got customers. You have different departments within the parts department because you have online sales, if you're doing mobile service, wholesale. There's so many facets of the department. I think there's a lot of pressure on them. I don't really know what my question is, but how do we deal with that? How do we help them?
Well, I think there's more pressure on the fixed operations as a whole.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
Yes.
we're transitioning, we're getting into the EV world, and
Yeah.
how do we maintain the ICE customers? So you have to have those conversations. Some of the things that we've been running into over the last 3 years is parts availability and chip shortages, and how do you deal with the disappointment by the end user, which is our customer, that I can't provide that service for you, or I can't get that part for you. It's created some other avenues where you get a little bit smarter in your business, and you start looking at other avenues rather than just be brand specific. You have to go out there and see if there's any other ways you can satisfy that customer's needs, and then at least present it, and then let them make the final choice. But what we do is, when we don't have something, we go to the ends to find it now where we didn't before. You're just going to have to wait. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you have to look at.
Yeah, I agree. Because no one wants to wait, and we don't want to wait for things.
No, in the last 3 years, it's actually pushed us to that position, which those that are embracing it understand it and are trying to do something to encourage that engagement with that guest. And we're all trying to build a reputation, and so that we can sustain ourselves over the years. And it parts managers or parts people as a whole, or they don't communicate the same way in most cases with the world. But if you break down those silos and they become more engaged in the entire process, the outcome is better, because now they see that they're part of a solution than just being a conduit for just providing a service by going to the shelf and getting the box.
Yeah.
Mike, I wanted to jump in with a question for you, if I can, as well. I know you both have a panel coming up here with a number of other people, experts, where you're talking about reactive versus proactive. For many years, the parts department, Mike, was more of a reactive type business, all right? But now that I feel the winds of change, okay? We have now a lot of talk about dealership culture and career paths. I see it and hear it at your dealership group as well, Mike. How is this coming about? Now we have not just wholesale and retail parts, we have online parts, we have all different ways with which to retail it. And the fact that we're selling ours, whether it's for our own shop or for someone else's shop, Mike, it's more proactive than ever, Mike.
Well, it's going to start at the top. We were in a meeting the other day with the entire fixed ops management group, and Henry Hansel's basically stated, we've got to learn to love one another better to get a more desired outcome. In other words, we've got to appreciate each other's and the contributions that we're making, and understand what each one of us are doing, and the trials, and then get involved to help solve that.
Mm-hmm.
I love Henry and Justin. What a team you got there, Mike. So
we're blessed.
Yeah. And that, Kaylee, is a great example of a dealership, in this sense, a group with a wonderful culture. They have a culture there, and they live it. And you hear Mike say, we don't have service and parts. We have fixed operations, Kaylee, right?
Absolutely. And I think the fact that Mike is so involved with the team, and just, involved in what we do with their team, makes a huge difference, because it's not one of those things. It's one of those things that you can kind of set and forget, but it's also one of those things that you need to be involved in too, to be better.
Well, I can't effectively be a contributor if I don't know what it is that they're working on. So I feel that I've got to be educated just as well, whether or not I do it daily but I can be there to support them if I know.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, when you reach out to PartsEdge, do you go to somebody else in that company, or do you go right to Kaylee?
We go to everybody. I mean, that Chuck and I go way back, and then Kaylee and I connected. I think we connected at an NADA event at one time, and we just kind of hit it off. And it's fun because she's so innovative, and I get excited about that. And she gets excited about our business. And to be honest with you, I feed off of that.
Oh, that's cool to hear. Well, and you guys were a client before I even came on to PartsEdge, which is really cool. So it's been a long, long relationship. That's why you and Chuck go way back.
I love it. Well, Kaylee, you do so much for the industry. I mentioned earlier you're going to be at NADA later this week. You're speaking. Congratulations to you on that. Kaylee, that's a big honor to be an NADA speaker.
It is.
It's incredible. It's as I'm preparing and writing what I want to say, I'm just still like blown away. I'm unbelievably nervous, but I keep saying that I'm going to be okay. And I'm probably going to have my paper in front of me so I don't forget what I want to say. But I'm just so excited. I can't believe it. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're moving parts forward, and congratulations to you and the team at PartsEdge. Everybody, if you want to reach out to Kaylee, she's extremely active. You can't miss her on social media, especially on LinkedIn. PartsEdge.com is a great resource. They constantly are upping the bar, and we're all just following. Kaylee Felio's email, of course, is at the bottom of the screen. So please reach out to her if you're not going to NADA, and set some time to learn more about PartsEdge and what they can do for you and your dealership. So
can't go wrong.
All right.
Thank
and
you.
There we have it from a great client, Mike Weldon. Kaylee and Mike, thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Weldon and Kaylee Felio from PartsEdge here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.